Homeowners in North Portland turned to Coin 6 after they say the shelter that's supposed to help homeless problems in their neighborhood has actually made life intolerable.
All I've seen is drug deals go down, orgies.
You see people camping and hanging out on the streets.
People using drugs, people having sex, people fighting.
We wound up calling the police.
You're frustrated.
Very.
In our series exploring Is Portland Over, one of the big concerns is the unintended consequences of shelters. Our investigator, Dan Tilkin, here now giving us a closer look at what happens when good intentions also come with bad side effects.
There's been so much attention given to why it's taken the city and county so long to open shelters and safe rest villages. One of the big pushbacks from neighbors is the fear that will invite people to camp nearby where there are no rules. That's exactly what happened when a shelter opened in the Arbor Lodge neighborhood in North Portland, just west of I-5. And it's another example why the crisis is so difficult to solve.
Fights, fires.
On North Lombard,
It has becoming a horrible scene.
there is a building that used to be a Rite Aid pharmacy.
I can be in a meeting, look out my window, and I see folks utilizing drugs with the glass pipe.
Multnomah County bought it for $2.8 million. And in November, the county chair, mayor of Portland, and other elected officials were there to announce its opening as an emergency warming shelter and saying another $2 million will go towards remodeling next fall. Under the County City Joint Office of Homeless Services, it now houses 70 people who were on the streets. But neighbors like Marta Guembes have paid a price.
After the shelter happened, our neighborhood has changed completely.
The Arbor Lodge shelter attracted satellite campers along the walls and sidewalk outside the building. Marta's home surveillance video gives a sample of what she's experiencing. This stranger talking to someone.
That's all right. I do like that all the time.
While sitting on her front porch.
We're afraid for our children to be out at night.
There are campers on the other side of the shelter at this vacant building that used to be the Farmer's Barn Tavern.
So they started in February of this year.
Mika Webb's first call to police was when she spotted a man from her window on the roof of the red building removing metal.
Since then, it has gotten a lot worse.
Mika's pictures document what she's experienced. People going in and out of the building, people squatting in the building, this half-naked woman outside. The city has had 2 recent building department nuisance and housing investigations.
I feel helpless and a little bit like I'm spinning my wheels, sending the same report in week after week, day after day.
This is what she and other neighbors are talking about. On the city's campsite reporting webpage, you can see the number of complaints grow since February, peaking in March. And keep in mind, this neighborhood has already been through so much. On the opposite side of the shelter from the Red Farmer's Barn, you can see another boarded-up building. That used to be the police union headquarters, the site of protests with fires, tear gas, and gunshots. How much can one neighborhood tolerate?
I think we're reaching our limit.
I took the neighbors' concerns to the organization running the shelter, Do Good Multnomah.
Since the shelter opened, they say they've had people in their neighborhoods, people in their yards, I should say. They've had seen drug dealing, they've had increase in crime, public sex. What do you say to them?
Yeah, I mean, that's just the housing crisis, and unfortunately it's right there on their doorstep, and it's uncomfortable, and I get it. And I think, like everyone else, you don't want that. However, there's just not enough resources to house everyone. You know, I mentioned that we have 300 individuals just on the waiting list at Arbor Lodge. You know, that's an insane amount of folks just waiting to get in. And so where can they go? The problem is so huge that I don't have a solution.
There are 58 people living inside on cots and 12 in tiny homes in the parking lot. Case managers steer people to social services and mental health and drug treatment. But the people outside are on their own. These two men who didn't want to do interviews admitted there's drug use, and when I told them about neighbors' concerns, they replied, "Where are people supposed to go?" These side effects of satellite camping have been central in the concerns in other neighborhoods, where 6 safe rest villages are proposed.
I cannot believe that concentrating a number of homeless folks in one spot isn't going to attract more of the same into the neighborhood.
The city agreed to a 150-foot buffer where no unregulated camping is allowed around safe rest villages. But there is no buffer around shelters like the one in Arbor Lodge.
Oh, I am welcoming of the shelter, and we as a board are welcoming of the shelter.
Speaking for the neighborhood association, Ginger Edwards says the shelter is the kind of thing that needs to happen across the city to tackle the crisis. She says at first the neighborhood embraced the shelter, even helping serve holiday dinner, and currently is working with the shelter residents on neighborhood cleanups twice a month. But at the same time, the association is pushing for more help.
That's why we really want the mayor to establish the emergency declaration, that there be a buffer zone between shelters and camping, and safe rest villages and camping. Believing that, first of all, the neighbors around have a right to maintain the privacy of their homes, and if there's campers, that's just impossible.
You have no buffer.
Yeah.
What do you think should happen?
I think at this point, they just need more resources, because no matter how big the buffer is, it's going to be in someone's front yard. And so at the end of the day, housing is a human right. Everyone deserves to have housing. And so I think that's on us to figure out how we do that.
Since we started working on our story, the city cleared out the people camping against the building, but not outside the farmer's barn. Neighbors wonder how long before more campers come back, and how long they'll have to deal with so many consequences.
In some ways, I think it has drained the resolve to make this situation better from a lot of folks, which actually is kind of scary.
So everyone we talked to agreed some of the people camping around the shelter likely came from camps along I-5, where the city cleared them out as part of the mayor's order to move people out of high corridor traffic areas, and those people simply moved towards the shelter.
Interesting, and you talked to the provider of that shelter there, and he said there's nothing they can do. And last week, I showed in my story in San Diego a 300-bed shelter that was an asset to the community because the people went to work cleaning up the residents there outside. And these shelters have to become an asset to the community, not an eyesore and a problem. How long are they allowed to stay there, Dan?
So I asked, how long does it take somebody to get rehabilitated, get on their feet? And they said, well, before the pandemic, their goal was 90 days. But now it's 120 days because everything in the pandemic is taking longer. And remember what he said? There is a waiting list of 300 people to get into that shelter alone. Huge problem.
Yeah, that all argument, we do not have enough emergency shelters. Yeah. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.